New Capitol Hill drama over gun control as the House breaks out into chaos as Democrats try to demand gun control action, shouting, "No bill, no break." Watch.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar number 488, H.R. 5388, a bill to amend the Homeland Security Act.
This is the second time in as many days that tempers appear to have boiled over. But some folks are asking whether this is legit or just a political play. Katie Pavlich is news editor of townhall.com. Julie Roginski is a Democratic analyst. Both are Fox News contributors. So Julie, let me start with you. What specifically are they mad about? Because you've got a couple of Republican proposals, a couple of Democrat proposals, neither of which can get the votes.
Yeah, it's a shame that neither of which can, but the reality is that Chris Murphy, who started this filibuster, wanted universal background checks, which should not be a controversial idea. 83% of NRA members want this. This is not a controversial idea, and yet even this cannot pass, which just goes to show how broken our system is when it comes to gun safety legislation.
But the proposals, Katie, have to do with more than just background checks.
Well, they, of course, have more to do with background checks, and let's not forget that gun control is a big distraction from the real issue here. Omar Mateen did not pledge allegiance to the NRA or Republicans, and by the way, he passed a background check when he purchased his firearms legally. This is a distraction away from the Obama administration's failed policies on ISIS, and instead of grandstanding on gun control, Congress should be getting ready to debate a declaration of war so we can stop this problem where it exists, which is overseas and here at home. What
about the Susan Collins legislation, Julie, which is, she's a Republican from Maine. She's sort of, middle of the road. And she's got this proposal that would prohibit gun sales to people who are on two different terror watch lists, one of two terror watch lists. You can appeal if your gun purchase is restricted. You can get your attorney's fees back if you win. And it's got a look-back provision that would require FBI notification if somebody who's been in a terror database manages to slip through and get a gun. Does that have any chance?
Look, I'm not sure if it has any chance because I think this Congress is so polarized when it comes to gun control, and I'm somebody who's very sympathetic to the due process aspect of this, where some bureaucrat can put you on a terror watch list or a no-fly list, and you can't
especially with an IRS that targeted conservatives.
No question that you have absolutely no access to any kind of due process if some bureaucrat decides to put you on. But there are several things here that you can do. I mean, there's no controversy whatsoever about making sure, Mateen aside, that people who pass universal background checks, not just people who do them in gun shows, but people who do them, people who do them in private sales, but people who do them in gun shows in other places.
Yes, but that solves a problem that did not cause these murders, Katie. That's the thing that doesn't move the Republicans or the NRA people who say, okay, great, but that would not have stopped Omar Mateen.
And oftentimes it wouldn't have stopped, actually, most mass shootings, not to mention terrorism in this country. Look, I think at a time when American citizens are at the most at risk that they've been since 9/11, it is astonishing that the left is telling us to disarm and attacking the NRA, whose members, by the way, are members not protecting just their Second Amendment rights, not just protecting due process, but protecting their families when ISIS comes knocking in their neighborhoods, and that the left is trying to take that away from them.
With all due respect, Katie, 83% of those same NRA members want universal background checks, and the reality is you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
The terrorist passed a background check, Julie. He passed a background check and was employed by Homeland Security.
There's more than just this one instance, and the reality is that if you can walk into a gun show and purchase something without having a gun show,
you're stuck in the gun show. The legislation that they're looking at
has nothing to do with it.
The situation here is, how do you prevent a terrorist from getting a gun? Everyone wants that. Everyone agrees on that. The terrorist should be, the potential terrorist should be stopped from getting a gun, but it's more complicated than that. How do you figure out who's a potential terrorist and still stay consistent with the Bill of Rights? I got to leave it at that. Great to see you both.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.